Welcome back. Let's now move into the next questions. That is question number 16. Okay, so till the last video we have discussed till question number 15 of the 10th chapter, 12th class NCERT chemistry back exercise. Alkyl and aryl halides is the chapter, and I hope you are taking lots of notes. Do not just watch these videos. It is a very important recommendation to you from my side. Do as much written practice as you can. Okay, it is the only key for perfection. If you will keep reading or just watching the videos, you will not be able to do that. Okay, so hope you are taking already, you are taking notes, and if you have not started taking notes, start it now. Okay, it's never late, right? So let's now start with this question. Let's see what is the statement for it. So the question is question number 16. It is having 3 parts. Yes, 3 parts it's having. Okay, 10.16 is the question. The statement is arrange the compounds of each set in order of reactivity towards SN2 displacement. We have been given that we need to tell the order of reactivity of the compounds that have been given in reactivity towards SN2 mechanism. Okay, so let's see what are the compounds given in the first part of this question. It is 2-bromo 2-methyl butane. First is 2-bromo 2-methyl butane. Okay, let's draw the structure also. So it is butane 1, 2, 3, and 4. At the second position, there is bromine, and at the second position itself, there is CH3 group. Now we can just satisfy all the valencies. Okay. Then the second compound here is 1-bromopentane. 1-bromopentane. One, two, three, four, 5. Okay. Then the last one is 2-bromopentane. CH3, CH2, CH2, CHBr, CH3. So this is 2-bromopentane. We need to compare the reactivity towards SN2 reactions. Okay. When we are talking about SN2 reactions, the reactivity depends upon the steric hindrance. Steric hindrance. That is the carbon on which attack of nucleophile is to take place. How much crowding is there around that particular carbon? Okay, in case of alkyl halides, they undergo nucleophilic substitution reactions. The attack is to occur on the carbon which is directly attached to the halogen atom. That is, in this case, here will be the attack, here will be the attack, and here will be the attack. Now, if we see the first case, it is a tertiary alkyl halide. Second one is a primary alkyl halide, and third one is a secondary alkyl halide. Okay, now the crowding across the carbon where attack is to take place, it is maximum in case of the tertiary alkyl halides. So you just can see this carbon is surrounded by ethyl group on this side, methyl groups on the other two sides. So this will be least reactive towards SN2 mechanism. Okay, now in case of primary, the carbon to which the attack is to take place, on this carbon, it is attached to 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 alkyl group is there. So only 1 alkyl group is there. Steric hindrance is lesser because the other 2 groups are hydrogen atoms, which are very small groups. Now in this case, in case of secondary, there are 2 alkyl groups across the carbon where attack is to take place, and the third one is the hydrogen atom. Now where is the maximum steric hindrance in case of tertiary? So it will be having the lowest reactivity. So tertiary less than. Now in case of secondary, there are 2 alkyl groups across the carbon where attack is to take place. Here only 1 alkyl group is there with the carbon on which attack is to take place. So tertiary will be least reactive and primary will be having the highest reactivity towards SN2 mechanism. Okay. So let's now move into the second part of this question. Let's see what is it. Which molecules have been given in the second part. Okay, the second part of this question is 1-bromo-3-methyl butane. 1-bromo-3-methyl butane. Okay, let's just draw it first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it is butane. 1, 2, 3, 4 will be there. 1-bromo, 1, 2, 3. At the third position, there is methyl group. Okay, then the second molecule that has been given is 2-bromo-2-methyl butane. 2-bromo, 2-methyl butane. 1, 2, 3, and 4. At the second position, there is bromine and there is methyl group. And the third molecule that has been given is 2-bromo-3-methyl butane. 2-bromo-3-methyl butane. Second position is bromine, and here it is CH3. Okay, now if you see here, this is again primary, this is tertiary, this is secondary. Just like this, it is similar to the first part of the question. So here there is minimum steric hindrance, here it is the maximum steric hindrance, here in between steric hindrance. So again the order will be the same. So if I say this is the first molecule, this is the second molecule, this is the third molecule, you can just write that second molecule will be least reactive, and then it will be the third molecule, then it will be the first molecule. Okay, in the previous question, I have not told you this order. I have just told you that tertiary will be less reactive than secondary, then primary. This is the basic. Okay, you just need to recognize which one is primary, secondary, and tertiary, and you can just very easily write the order. Okay, let's now move into the third part of this question. Third part, the first molecule here is 1-bromobutane. I hope he has given 4 molecules in this part, so I'm just drawing it here. 1-bromobutane. The second molecule, this is the first molecule. The second molecule is 1-bromo-2,2-dimethyl propane. 1-bromo-2,2-dimethyl propane. Br, here it is CH3. Okay. Then the third molecule is 1-bromo-2-methyl butane. 1, 2, 3, and 4. First position it is bromine, second position it is CH3. Okay, then the fourth molecule is 1-bromo-3-methyl butane. 1-bromo-3-methyl butane. Okay, we can just now complete the valencies quickly. Now, if you see the structures of all these molecules, they are all primary. This is primary, 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 and primary. Now, how to see which one will be most reactive and which one will be least reactive towards SN2 mechanism? Again, we will be considering the steric hindrance. Now, previously, we were looking at the steric hindrance at the carbon to which the halogen atom was directly attached. That is the carbon at which the attack had to take place. Now we will be looking at the steric hindrance near to the carbon atom where the attack is to take place. Now here the attack is to take place, here it is attack to take place, here the attack is to take place, and here is the attack to take place. Now if you see the first molecule, there is no steric hindrance across the carbon where the attack is to occur. in this case, in the second molecule, the carbon on which attack is to occur, it is further attached to a very bulky alkyl group, which is sterically hindered to a large extent. But in this case, in the third molecule, there is steric hindrance near to the carbon on which attack is to take place, but less than that of the second case. Okay, but here in the fourth case, there is steric hindrance, but one carbon away from the carbon on which the attack is to take place. One carbon away from the carbon on which the attack is to take place. So maximum steric hindrance is in case of second one. So it will be least reactive. At the second number, this molecule will come, third one. This will come at the fourth position. The fourth molecule will be at the third position, and one will be the most reactive compound towards SN2 mechanism, that is nucleophilic substitution bimolecular mechanism. So hope this is clear. So because all these were primary alkyl halides, we needed to see what is the distance of the steric hindrance from the carbon on which attack is to take place. On the carbon on which attack is to take place, what is the distance of the steric hindrance? Okay, so let's now move into the next question. Question number 17. I'm just clearing the screen off. Question number 17 is 10.17. Out of, we have been given benzyl chloride, C6H5CH2Cl, benzyl chloride has been given, and dibenzyl chloride has been given. This is not dibenzyl chloride actually. Okay, this is a molecule to which one phenyl substituent is also there. Okay, this will not be called as dibenzyl chloride. Okay, so now here we need to tell which one is more easily hydrolyzed by aqueous KOH. If we have aqueous KOH, which one will be more easily hydrolyzed? So the reaction with aqueous KOH is going to be that this Cl from both the molecules, it will be replaced by OH. It will get converted into alcohol. Okay. Now there are two types of mechanisms which can occur here: nucleophilic substitution SN1, nucleophilic substitution SN2. Any of the two can occur. Now, if we consider SN1 mechanism, it follows the carbocation formation. During SN1 mechanism, carbocation intermediate is formed. Now, greater the stability of carbocation intermediate formed, faster will be the reaction. Greater the stability of carbocation intermediate formed, faster will be the reaction. Now, in the first case, what will be the structure of the carbocation formed? It will be this one. Okay. In the second case, the structure of the carbocation will be now out of the two, which one is more stable, first or second? It is the second one which is more stable, because the positive charge will be delocalized over two benzene rings, right? So this is more stable. So because the second molecule, this is molecule 1, this is molecule 2, the second molecule is leading to the formation of more stable carbocation intermediate, the reaction will be faster if SN1 mechanism is followed. So the reactivity of the second molecule will be more than the first molecule in case of SN1 mechanism. Now, if SN2 mechanism is followed, then we will be looking at the steric hindrance, just in case of the previous question we have done. Greater the steric hindrance, lesser will be the reactivity. Now, in the second molecule, two bulky groups are there which are sterically hindering the attack of OH negative on this carbon. This means Second one will be less reactive than the first one, because in first one there is only one benzene ring which is sterically hindering the attack of OH negative, that is the nucleophile. So here first one will be more reactive than the second one, because in first one there is less steric hindrance, but in the second one there is more steric hindrance because of two bulky groups. Hope this is clear to you. So if we are considering SN1 mechanism, we need to see the stability of the carbocation intermediate that will be found. And if we need to see the reactivity towards SN2 mechanism, then we need to see the steric hindrance. Greater the steric hindrance, lesser is the reactivity. Okay. So let's now move into question number 18th, 10.18. Para-dichlorobenzene. Okay, first of all, let's just draw the structure. Para-dichlorobenzene has higher melting point than those of ortho and meta isomers. Okay. This is the ortho-dichlorobenzene. Then we need to have the meta-dichlorobenzene like this. Okay. Now it is, the statement says that the melting point of para-dichlorobenzene is higher than those of ortho-dichlorobenzene as well as meta-dichlorobenzene. Now why is it so? Now, if you see the structure of these three molecules, this one, that is the para-dichlorobenzene, it is the most symmetrical structure. Most symmetrical structure. Now, if the structure is symmetrical, then fitting in the crystal lattice, is more symmetrical, and the lattice becomes very stable. Lattice becomes very stable. But in case of ortho and meta isomers, the structure is not that symmetrical like para isomer. So the fitting in the crystal lattice will not be as good as in case of the para isomer. So the breaking of lattice will be easier in case of, or the melting of the lattice is easier in case of ortho and meta isomers. So if you are having any question related to melting point, you just need to see the structure. If the structure is very symmetrical, it will fit better in the crystal lattice and it will become harder to melt the crystal lattice. Simple as that. Okay, hope this is clear to you. So this is the, I think we can take the next question in the next video because it is having 20 parts. 19th question is having 20 parts. So I will be taking that question in the separate video, and it is the question related to, again, the horrible thing, that is conversions. Just joking, okay? It is not at all horrible. You have seen it. It's very simple. You just need to have the reactions in mind, that how you can convert one compound into the other compound, okay? And in these 20, again, we will be doing a lot of practice. 20 is not a small number to practice, okay? So I will again recommend you first try to do it yourself, then come to watch the video. And I have given the link to the video to the next question in the description of this video. Okay, you can just go and check it out, and I will see you there.